Listen, I am not naive to the game. I am a firm believer that storylines fuel viewership. Drama fuels viewership. And the reason we have been so caught up in this Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark, the Chicago Sky, and the W, we've been so caught up with that whole situation. You guys are literally don't even realize that you're about to miss out on one of the best WNBA drama-filled storylines that has happened in recent years, taking place tonight with the Seattle Storm versus the Phoenix Mercury. Now, of course, I realize a lot of you guys weren't even fans of the WNBA back in 2022, but for a lot of us who were fans, we understand the significance of this matchup. And for those of you guys who weren't here, you're welcome. I'm about to fill you in on why this is going to be a phenomenal game tonight. Now, before I get started, I want to do a quick disclaimer because some of y'all get mad at me for telling a story that is public information. All these details are on the internet. Literally, if you were watching the WNBA in 2022, you already know this whole entire story. All I did was just reshare the information. So don't get mad at me for telling a story that everybody already knew. And then second of all, these are professional women. Now, I'm not saying you're going to watch tonight's game and there's going to be a fight. What I'm saying is there is a little bit of motivation probably behind some of these players, and there is some history behind these teams that ultimately might, influence some people to play a little bit harder tonight. That's all I'm saying, is I'm just trying to show you guys a little bit of context behind the game tonight. And lastly, as a final disclaimer, please keep in mind that our knowledge to the situation is very, very subjective. There is so much that happens behind the scenes that we are not aware of. There's so much that goes on behind closed doors that we do not know. They only tell the public this amount of information. So just keep that in mind as we dive into the story time that, in all honesty, we really have no idea that what goes down behind closed door. We just have decent amount of information to work with. So let's take it back to 2021 and the Phoenix Mercury. At that time, our roster consists of what we would think of as the big three. Honestly, before we start talking about super teams, I felt like this was a super team. You had Diana Taurasi, you had BG, and you had Skylar Diggins. Now, Skylar Diggins and BG were a part of that whole, their draft class, the big three you want to see. We had two of the big three right then and there. So they were supposed to be a heavy contender, which they were. They end up making the WNBA finals against the Chicago Sky, but they lose. And at the conclusion of that season, the Phoenix Mercury decides to part ways with Sandy Brondello, who now is the current coach of the New York Liberty. I ultimately think their decision to part ways with Sandy was the first thing to kind of just set people off a little bit, especially since that they parted ways with her after they made the finals. It just didn't seem right. And I think that was kind of like the first hint of, we might be in some trouble here. Now, when 2022 rolls around, I know the Phoenix Mercury front office is not even tripping about getting rid of Sandy. You know what I'm saying? They said, I'm about to set us up for full success right now. We're about to bring in Vanessa Nagard now. It's her first head coaching job, but we're not even tripping about that. We're about to sign Tina Charles, and then we got in our back pocket 3 Olympic gold medals with BG, Diana Taurasi, and Skylar Diggins. There is no way that we are not going to be in contention for another championship. There's absolutely no way. And then life said, hold my beer. So everything that could go wrong, it started to go wrong. Starting with BG being detained in Russia, and presumably, she's going to miss the entire season because obviously you can't play basketball if you're being detained in a Russian prison. So a little adversity, no big deal, right? Absolutely big deal. Absolutely a big deal. The Phoenix Mercury are going to start off that season just, a little less than hot. They're going to get a couple wins in the beginning, and then during a 3-game losing streak with the Las Vegas Aces, we are going to get our first glimpse of the drama ensuing within the team. Diana Taurasi and Skylar Diggins are going to get into a very, very visible argument during a huddle. They're going to have to be separated by a team, and from the outside looking in, we are now confused because, baby, we may not know the details, but I know some drama when I see it, and very much it was giving drama. It was giving what is going on in the Phoenix Mercury locker room and why the girls are fighting. Why are the girls fighting? We had a lot of questions and no answers. And again, when drama happens with teams, you like to keep that in-house. So again, from the outside looking in, we have more questions than answers, but definitely if it walks like a dog, barks like a dog, it's a dog. We know drama when we see it, and very much there was something going on within the Phoenix Mercury that something was off. Now, coincidentally, Skylar's going to take a couple days after that situation away from the team. Now, they came out and said it had nothing to do with that Diana Taurasi, Skylar Diggins situation that y'all saw. Skylar's sick. So we said, okay, Skylar's sick. That happens. So she's going to take a little time away. It was just interesting timing. Now, our next moment of something is off moment is going to come during the All-Star break. Skylar Diggins is going to make the All-Star team, but Diana Taurasi is not. And during an interview, Nagard basically comes out and says, like, y'all are missing out not putting Diana Taurasi. It's not even going to be an All-Star game because Diana Taurasi is not participating. Skylar Diggins is going to quote tweet that video with the clown emoji. And again, at this point, the Phoenix Mercury just keeps throwing us nuggets like, babes, we know something is off. Like, that isn't normal behavior. What's tea? No one's telling us information. But again, the writing is on the walls that something is not right within the organization. Now, I also want to note that Skylar Diggins is putting up her best numbers in 2022 right now. Like, she's putting her career highs. My good sis is averaging like 19 points going into when she will miss the final 4 games of the Phoenix Mercury season. We really don't know information. It is for personal reasons. Phoenix Mercury end up losing to Las Vegas Aces in the playoffs. And then it comes out at the conclusion of the season that Skylar Diggins, I'm also pregnant. Which is also interesting because, like I said, best numbers. She had the most, logging the most minutes of the WNBA, being a whole entire bucket, growing a tiny human in her belly. So shout out to Skylar because, yeah, not a lot of people could have done that. So Skylar is on contract going into the 2023 season, but it is common knowledge that we assume that she will not be playing because she will be on maternity leave because she will have, if the numbers add up, have her baby at the beginning of 2023 and won't be ready to play by June. So June 2023 rolls around. Skylar has obviously had her baby and we get our first glimpse of Skylar back in action, which is a video of her getting shots up at the gym. So now people are asking questions like, well, is Skylar coming back? Will she be ready to play by season? And so the media starts asking players and the GM and coach, hey, what is going on with Skylar? What's the deal? And nobody is giving us straightforward answers. Everybody's being kind of little nice, nasty with their answers. GM's like, right now Skylar's on maternity leave and she'll be a free agent next season. Shay Petty, you know, her answer was good. She said, I would love to see Skylar back. BG said, that's above my pay grade. Skylar reached out to me, told me congratulations on making the All-Star team. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in this basketball stuff, but you know, I ain't got no beef with Skylar. I ain't got nothing to do with me. And then Sophie's answer was basically like, I don't know how people's bodies bounce back when they have babies, but I hope her and her babies are doing well. And then in August 2023, Skylar let that chopper sing just a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit. It was her birthday, and the Phoenix Mercury did not give her a birthday shout out or post. That sent fans up like, what's going on? That's odd. That's weird. Y'all are being weird. Skylar, why aren't they telling you happy birthday? And Skylar basically said like, yo, I haven't talked to Phoenix Mercury. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't speaking. And then they also didn't let me use the facilities or any of the services while I was on maternity leave. So clock that. So now we have a little bit of insight that, yeah, we're not off. There is beef between Skylar and the Phoenix Mercury. And then in September 2023, Diana Taurasi, somebody asked her about Skylar Diggins and about if she wants her to come back, and she said, next question. And with those 2 words, DT tells us everything we need to know. Girl, you answered all our questions without answering our questions at all. Because if there was no beef and everything was cool between you wouldn't have said next question. Obviously, Skylar's not going to play the entire 2023 season. She's going to finish out her contractual agreements with the Phoenix Mercury, and they are going to part ways at the conclusion of the season. As we already know, Skylar's going to end up signing with the Seattle Storm during free agency, and that kind of concludes the whole Skylar Diggins-Smith and Phoenix Mercury relationship. Now, we can conclude based upon information that has been presented, there was a lot of things that went down behind the scenes that we are not aware of. So going into these games, you can just imagine that there is just a little bit of animosity and kind of chip on the shoulder certain players have. We kind of saw a glimpse of this during the preseason when the Phoenix Mercury and Seattle Storm saw each other, and we got a little soundbite that we probably weren't supposed to hear, where the Seattle Storm in their huddle was like, F them, I'm with Skylar. We know that, yo, there's some beef behind the scenes going on. Like, I don't think they like each other. So all this to say, if you're tapping in and you enjoy a little bit of drama and a little bit of tea, I encourage you to make sure that you tune in when the Seattle Storm and the Phoenix Mercury play these seasons. Now, if you can't tune in tonight's game, do not fret. Lucky for you, they will play each other again on June 16th and then September 7th. So circle those on your calendar, and then if you can, just make sure you tune in tonight because it is sure to be a good game. Because again, I know Skylar doesn't want to lose to Phoenix. I know Phoenix doesn't want to lose to Skylar. So hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here sharing a story. That's all I'm doing.